Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Just Kings, back with a new video. And in this video, I'm gonna be doing my review for episode 5 of Netflix's Avatar: The Last Airbender, titled Spirited Away. Now, this episode adapts from the Winter Solstice Part 1, The Spirit World. A little bit of that, and we also have a little bit of things from uh, Bato of the War Tribe, and also some things with Ko and Watching Tong, and a whole bunch of stuff is in this episode, you guys. Um, this episode mixed up a lot of stuff, and it seems to be that people are kind of mixed on the episodes. Some people don't really like that they put Watching Tong in it and other things and such. So, anyways, we're just going to discuss the episode, and with all that said and done, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump right into it. So the episode starts out with Aang, Katara, and Sokka basically running away from some Fire Nation soldiers, um, because Sokka still has his charms with the lady, and I guess was flirting with he was flirting with a Fire Nation girl that he didn't know was a soldier or a Fire Nation soldier in general. But yeah, I wish we kind of could have seen that. That would have been funny. But we get a cool shot of Qatar waterbending, and she makes up a new move with some ice discs and stuff, uh, everything. And we have a small little scene right here of them on Appa after they've escaped from the soldiers, and Aang is basically like, it's on the top of my head. He's praising her for coming up with new moves and telling her, that's the skill of us. That's the mark of a skilled bender. You're getting better, and they discuss that. She can get even better once they get to the North Pole and find a master. So we have all that in this scene and everything, and they noticed a burned down forest, and Aang wants to go check it out. So they come to realize that the Fire Nation soldiers have like burnt this forest and everything. They assume it's because of a battle and all that. And Aang is just distraught because as the Avatar, it's his job not just to protect, people, but he has to protect, the natural world, forest and everything and all that stuff. And so we get another close up shot of Aang, um, basically, not really giving a monologue like he kind of did in the first episode. But as I said before, we have a lot of shots of this, of like close ups of him, where he's just like, I'm supposed to be the Avatar. I don't know what I'm doing. And I thought that was fine in the first episode, like I said. But um, it kind of plays too much, throughout the series. And I kind of hope, like, if we do get a season 2, they kind of drop. I hope they drop this. I hope they drop like the close up shots like this, um, or at least use them sparingly. But yeah. So Sokka ends up coming across this small little girl who's lost. Seems to be lost in the forest, and he starts talking to her and being friendly. And she's got like a little straw doll with her. And so he asks if the doll has a name. The little girl shakes her head. And guys, we have it. Pippin paddle obstacle. Pippin Pippin paddle obstacle. But Pippin paddle the third lives, you guys. Pippin paddle the third lives. Okay, he lives. He's in the show. Or she? It's a doll, so I'm not sure. But uh, but yeah, that was funny to see. I'm glad they really threw in a lot of small stuff that fans could catch and stuff like this. Other things that we're gonna see in this episode and the next episode. But moving on, guys. They end up coming across a village. They meet this young girl's father, and he explains to them that the Fire Nation Firebenders, um, there wasn't a battle. They just burnt the forest to make a path through the mountain, so they wouldn't have to trek through all the stuff, whatever. And he explains that Since that has happened, it's like the land has turned against them. The crops aren't growing. They sent a search party for food that his son was a part of the team. They went out looking for food, and they've completely disappeared. No evidence of them being taken or anything like that. They're just gone and stuff. And Aang in this series seems to have more of a connection. He seems to know more about the spirit world and stuff. Or at least the spiritual aspects and everything than he did in the cartoon. Um, if I remember correctly, in the cartoon, when he gets to this village, that's when he kind of learns that he can get into the spirit world and stuff. Here, he seems to already know it, which makes sense since the air nomads and stuff, airbenders and all that, they were always more of the more spiritually attuned out of all like the benders and everything. So it makes sense since he was, he grew up as an air nomad and stuff 100 years ago. He would have learned some spiritual aspects and stuff about the spirit world. So he tells the father here that he's going to get his people back, his son back, and everything. And that's what he goes off to do. Now, when Aang gets into the spirit world, he ends up bringing Sokka and Katara into the spirit world with him. Um, a lot of people are mixed on this. I'm fine with it. Um, there's other things in this episode that I think they could have done without, but I'm totally fine with this. Um, it was really funny seeing like Sokka like in the actual spirit world, cause like Aang and Katara are like walking. Katara's talking about like, oh yeah, I always thought I was a spiritually attuned person, and then she turns around. They're Aang and Katara basically having a conversation. She turns around, and Sokka he's walking behind them, and he's just looking all over the place like freaked out and everything. And that would be Sokka in the spirit world. He starts pointing at things. He's like, what's that? Is that a frog or a froggy thing? And Guitar's just like, I don't know how he ended up here. So yeah, I think they nailed Sokka's reaction to being in the spirit world. Pretty funny. No mention of him having to use the bathroom, unfortunately, like in the cartoon. Um, but yeah, so they start going through the spirit world and everything, and they end up meeting Wan Shi Tong. Yeah, so Wan Shi Tong has a small part in this episode in this one scene, and Aang is the only one who can understand him since, you know, Aang, is the Avatar. He's part of the spirit world, and so Katara and Sokka, all they hear is like hooting from Wan Shi Tong, and so Wan Shi Tong, explains to Aang that they Katara and Sokka shouldn't be there. It's dangerous for them, and that they're gonna have to, if they stay here, they're gonna have to end up facing the truth. And so he tells Aang explains the whole situation to him that they're looking for these villagers. Washi Tong tells Aang that there's someone who lives in a hut just at the end of the path. Stay on the path and you'll be fine. Um, Wan Shi Tong's appearance is another thing that seems to be mixed. Some people seem to like it, some people don't. Um, uh, it's another thing that like doesn't bother me. I thought it was cool to see him and everything. You know, they're in the spirit world, and I think one of the discussions that people had, one of the thoughts that people had was like, well, if like, why is he in the spirit world if he's supposed to be like at the library in the weird world and everything? And I get the point they're making, but to me, I don't see like why he can't. He's a spirit. He's ultimately a spirit, so he should be able to go back and forth. Maybe he's taking a break from the library. Maybe the foxes, you know, haven't borrowed him anything lately. And speaking of foxes, we're going to talk about a fox in a little bit. So moving on, guys. So the gang continues on their journey to go look for this hut and everything, find somebody to help them, and they end up coming across Hey Bai, and Heibai's appearance in this is one of the things that I did not really like. Don't get me wrong, it was cool. The effects on Heibai were great and everything. Looked awesome, looked scary and everything. It was a cool scene. But the thing is, one of the changes in this episode was that Heibai is still the spirit of the forest, but it's not really said that it's Heibai um, bringing people into the spirit world. That's not really mentioned. He's going on a rampage in the spirit world. Um, but like, there's nothing of him like attacking like the village or anything like that, or even the villagers don't say it's hate by. They just say weird stuff is going on, and people have disappeared, and Aang kind of figures out that it's spirit stuff that's going on. So sorry about that. So really, I think I'm gonna say this before I get to it. So it turns out it's actually Ko that's taking people and stuff. And I'm gonna get to Ko in a little bit. And I really think they could have kept Ko in the last episode where he was like in the original series, right? Um, with the Siege of the North and all that. I really think they could have kept that, and I'll talk about that when I get to it. But what I'm trying to say here is, I think they could have kept all the elements of Hey Bye, you know, from the cartoon being the one taking people and stuff and everything. And they could have kept all the stuff with Sokka Guitar being brought into the spirit world. Um, I think they could have kept the whole the fog of lost souls comes into play in this episode. Which I'm gonna get to in a minute. So I think they could have kept that and just left out the co stuff here and kept that at the end. And of course, that would have changed some things. Of like, they would have to have another reason why Aang went and saw Roku in the last episode. But I kind of explained how they could have done that a better way, anyways. I'll explain it again when I do my episode 6 review. But anyway, so yeah, the gang ends up getting like split up here and everything, and they end up in the fog of lost souls, which leads to some flashbacks and some cool character cameos. So we first get a scene of Katara ending up in like an old memory of when her mom was killed. Um, and this the whole scene is brilliant. So basically, Katara, her mom, her grand, they're doing some braiding. And they're having like a talk and everything, and all of a sudden, firebenders start attacking, and they're looking for waterbenders. So Grant's like, "Hi, Qatar." So Qatar's mom starts bringing her to this hut, and Qatar, who's like, she knows what happens, right? She knows if she goes in there with her mom's gonna die, and she's saying like, "No, no, we can't go in there." So like her mom grabs her, brings in, and then like when the scene first starts, Qatar's like her regular age, and then like once they get into the hut, we see her as like a small child. Her mom hides her. The firebender comes in. The band's waterbender. Qatar's mom was like, "You killed all of them." It's like, "No, we know y'all got one. We sniffed them out. We got waterbender, waterbender sniffing dogs." He doesn't actually say that, of course, but whatever. So he starts kind of like he's threatening her mom and everything. And young Katara, who can't even really waterbend yet, decides she's gonna try to do something. Um, and there's a it was a bit confusing for me because at one point it looked like the firebender looked down at the pail of water. But I guess he was just like looking around the room. But at one point, the shots made it kind of, to me, it made it look like he was looking at the pail of water when she was trying to waterbend. This explosion, and so that kind of distracts guitar and everything. So Firebender starts like pulling up stuff, and Katara's just hiding under a table, covered by some bear skins and stuff. But when he goes looking at the table, Katara's mom was like, "Okay, I'll tell you the truth. The water bender is me." And uh, she goes to make a move like she's gonna water bend, and then the firebender just engulfs her in flames right in front of Katara. And this actress here that played young Katara, I don't know her name. She was really great in this scene. She was really great, really great. Loved it. The music was great in the scene. The whole scene was great. Um, I wonder if we get like a season 3. You know, if they do the Southern Raiders episode. You know, are they gonna get the guy that was here to play the 5 minute? Are they gonna bring him back? Maybe put some old age makeup on him or digitally age him or whatever. But we'll just have to wait and see. Now we get a scene of Sokka in a memory of when he passes Ice Dodging Trials, which is a change up from the original series. Okay, sorry, I stopped. I paused for a second because my mic was doing something really weird. Um, anyways, like I said, it's a change up from the original series. In the original series, he never got to go on his Ice Dodging Trials because his dad had left and everything. And so he ends up, they get reunited with Bato, their dad's best friend. And I guess you could say Bato's like guitar and socks aren't going away. Okay, I got some background noise going on, you guys. Sorry about that. Anyways, um, so in the episode Bato the War Tribe, they meet up with their dad's friend Bato and everything. They're reunited with him, and Bato takes Sokka on like an ice dodging trial. It's more like rock dodging in the episode because they're not in the South Pole or anywhere near ice. Um, so, and curious thing is that when the show was coming out, there was never any cast announcement for Bato, but Bato is in this episode. We have him, and honestly, I'm fine with them not attaching the War Tribe. They do pull some things up from the episode into this episode. Obviously, we have Bato here, and June, the Bounty Hunter is also in this episode. But I'm just glad we still got to see Bato in the show. So they're, praising Sokka for passing trial and everything, and feeling good about it, and he goes outside, and basically some of the war tribe kids make fun of him, because apparently, um, they let him pass, but barely. Apparently, he crashed into some stuff or something, and kind of messed up the boat, and really it was Bato that got them out of danger. So he overhears a conversation with Bato and his dad. His dad's basically like, you know, I thought, Sokka was ready to campaign, but obviously some people don't need other people's lives in their hands. And so we kind of see the pressure that Sokka has on him and everything. And oh my god, you guys, I forgot to mention something, but I gotta go back. Alright, so earlier I said we had to talk about a fox. So before Sokka gets into the whole memory thing and everything, and all that, uh, he ends up meeting this fox that begins talking to him and stuff, and he has like a small conversation with her, and the fox basically explains that like pain can change people, and the reason Heibai is acting the way it's acting is because of what the Fire Nation has done to its forest, which has injured it and stuff. And then the fox basically calls out Sokka for basically like using jokes and sarcasm to like kind of like get out of talking about his feelings and how he actually feels and the pain that he's dealt with and everything. And yeah, so this fox actually gonna become important in a later episode. Won't spoil it here if you haven't watched it yet. But yeah, so just forgot to mention this, so I wanted to bring it up real quick. So then we cut back to Aang, who's, walking through the spirit world and everything, and he sees the Southern Air Temple. And he, starts to get excited, and he's like, no, no, it's a trick, it's not real. And this is where Ko comes into the picture. So Ko was the one taking villagers, and it's basically like using the fog of lost souls to hunt for them and stuff and everything. And he feeds like on the despair and misery and all this and everything. And so he realizes Aang is the Avatar because the fact that he can resist the fog and all that, and tells Aang, one of your previous incarnations tried to kill me, and we see his some of the faces have. They only show like two. They show the face of Avatar Kurik's love Umi, and then the howler monkey baboon thing. So we see that, and then this face, which couldn't probably might not even be Ko's real face. Who knows. Um, but really, like I said before, I don't think they needed to have Ko in this episode. Um, I get why they did it somewhat. I think they really could have kept. I really think they could have him in episode 8. Instead, and I'll talk about that. When I get to it. Another thing here that I didn't like about the change to Ko, he's creepy and everything. He's got that creepy element to him. But the one creepy thing about him in the show was that when speaking to Ko, you had to show no emotion at all. And so that scene with Aang and Ko in the cartoon, it's like really tense because Aang has to show no emotion, just even like a split second where like he does show emotion, and when Ko turns on him, he's completely blank faced. We don't get that here. Aang kind of realizes that he's in danger. Ko also mentions about the Avatar stole something from him. So Aang runs out, and then after he gets away from Ko, he finally finds the hut, and in the hut he finds Monk Gyatso. At first, Aang thinks it's another trick. Big Gyatso explains that it's really him, and that he stayed in the spirit world so he could speak with Aang, and they just, oh my god, these two, the chemistry between Gordon and the actor that plays Monk Gyatso here, I'm sorry, I don't know his name. I apologize. Um, is so great. I love their scenes in the first episode. I love the fact that they use Gyatso, the memory of Gyatso, to calm Aang down. When after he finds his body and goes into the Avatar state at the end of that episode. Um, and they're them being reunited here. You know, after all the things that Aang has been going through. He's lost all his people and everything, and he's reunited with not just one of them, but the one who meant the most to him and everything. And Gyatso, explains to him, that if you had stayed, you would have just been killed. And I think that was really important for Aang to hear. And I'm really glad, they got it into this series. They added it here and everything. Um, And so A kind of learns about Ko and the Fog of Lost Souls and everything and what Ko does, and that his friends are in danger. And Gyatso explains to him that Roku once, had a battle with Ko, and he came out of it and everything. And so this is where Aang decides that he needs to see Roku to get information from Ko and how to get his friends back and everything. So this kind of wraps up like the uh the Aang side of the story of this episode and everything. So it basically ends with like Gyatso speaking about time and everything, how it's all mixed together, but just by focusing on what's important, we don't have to worry about time and how it affects us and all that stuff. Um, so moving on now, we're just going to talk about. First, I'm going to talk about some stuff with Azula, and then I'm going to talk about some stuff with Zuko, and then I'm going to give my episode rating. Alright, so we have a quick few little scenes with Azula in this episode. The first thing we have with her is like her and her dad with her dad has a throne slash war room. He's going over some like battle plan strategy stuff, whatever. And she's basically just trying to do her this is kinda like where we kinda see a little bit of her manipulation side and that the fact that she even tries to use it on her dad and Ozai, basically calls her out for it. He agrees with her on what she's saying, um, but she's all like, Zhao, he's the one who found the Avatar. Zuko, who's that? And Ozai, really, I feel like in this series, Ozai does his best to manipulate both his children. He uses the fact that Zuko actually found the Avatar to kind of push Azula more. And of course, like uh, Azula, is definitely what pushes Zuko and everything. Maybe not so much in this series. Ozai is definitely you can tell where Azula gets her manipulation from because you can see what Ozai here is the point I'm trying to make. Um, but throughout the episode, Azula just is dealing with like her emotions and stuff, and they're getting like out of control. And I think it's cool to kind of see like this like kind of like crazy side to her. We have like a scene where she's training and stuff, and her trainer's like, that's enough, but she's just relentless and keeps attacking him. And we get a small moment right here, as you can see, where we see her blue fire. And I just want to go back to like before this series came out. Everybody was good. Not maybe not everybody. There was a lot of people on Twitter complaining when they had released a picture of Azula and they had the one where she had a bow and some of the advertisements they only showed like regular fire and not blue fire. And it was until like that the episodes got released that they had advertisements with her lightning bending and stuff. So people were saying like, oh, they took away her lightning bending, they took away her blue fire, and as you can see, it was all that complaining was pointless because the blue fire is here. We get the lightning bending in an episode coming up, and yeah, so this is just another lesson in maybe when pictures come out and you don't know the full context of a picture, um maybe wait to see what the context is. Okay. So I'm just rambling now because never jump to conclusions, guys. Never jump to conclusions. That's the point I'm trying to make here. So yeah, so these were like some great scenes and everything, seeing her train and everything, and she's just pushing herself. And I really like that was her storyline throughout this episode. Throughout not this episode, but throughout this series, really that was her storyline. Was her trying to manipulate everything, and Ozai pushing her and all that stuff. And we're gonna see that come to a head in like I believe it's episode 7. Um, but let's move on now to the final things I want to talk about, and that is the Zuko and Iroh and June stuff. So I'm gonna be honest here. Not a lot of stuff really happens with Zuko and Iroh in this episode. Obviously, they learn the location of where Katara, Aang, and Sokka might be, um, due to in Zuko's opinion, Lieutenant G's stupidity. And I can't wait to talk about Lieutenant G in the next episode because he's one of my favorite characters in the series. He doesn't have a lot of stuff to do, but the storyline they change with like the soldiers on Zuko's boat and everything, and the added connection of everything that we're gonna see in the next episode. I'm looking forward to talking about that. So Zuko and Iroh go to this village, and they decide to ask. They go to this little tavern and ask like the barkeep um, if he's seen any waterbenders or anything. And so this is like a little funny scene where everybody knows they're a Fire Nation. They're Fire Nation, because of the clothes they wear and all that stuff. And they're just like kind of being stared down. The barkeep, is just kind of like mean mugging them while cleaning a cup. And so Zuko asks him, "Have you seen any waterbenders around here?" And the barkeep's like, No, just no. And so like Zuko decides to bribe, him. So he slides a little pouch filled with some, some money in it, and the barkeep, takes it, pockets it, keeps cleaning the cup, and Zuko asks him again, you know, and the barkeep is like, no, still no. And Zuko's getting frustrated, and the barkeep mentions that, you heard the Avatar was traveling with some waterbenders, and this leads to like a little scene where it turns out all these people in this tavern, have heard stories about the Avatar, and I don't know if it's like supposed to be implied that these are just like rumors of adventures that that are happening, um, or if like this stuff that has happened that we didn't see. So they mention the pirates, and they mention the canyon guy and the canyon crawlers from like the Great Divide and all that. Um, The only thing they do mention that actually happened in the show that we do see is like the stuff with Boomy. They mention that. So Zuko gets frustrated because now it's pretty much confirmed. The whole world knows the Avatar is alive and back and everything, and so he's feeling distraught about that. And then that's when they come across June here, the bounty hunter. I was gonna say Nala, the Shishu looks great. I think the animals look great and everything. Um, but sometimes because like the CGI, like right here, like especially like here, um, I noticed it seems to be more like in the daytime, like at scenes with Appa at night, like in this episode and the first episode when Aang was speaking with Appa after finding out he's the Avatar. Um, they look great in night scenes, but like in the daytime scenes like this, these CGI creatures they look out of place and like almost a little otherworldly. Um, but yeah, June that actually June here, Arden Cho. She's great. And basically has like the same characteristics as the character from the show. Um, Iroh doesn't really do any flirting with her like he does the cartoon, but she does a little flirting with him. Um, which I've seen some people complain about and stuff, but like it's whatever. It's whatever, It's whatever. Um, and Iroh convinces Zuko to buy buy June's services, her bounty hunting services, to find Aang and all that and everything. So he agrees. At first, he's kind of like resistant to the idea. He doesn't like mercenaries and stuff. Zuko's thing seems to be in like doing things by the book, by the rules, and everything, and because that that's what's honorable. But Iroh explains to him here, like out here it's different. All that stuff you believe in, doing what's right and doing things by the book and everything that's what makes a great leader. But when you're out here, you know, and out here in the rest of the world, you have to make compromises and make tough decisions. And Commander Zhao knows that everything. So Zuko agrees, and they team up with June for here and everything. And yeah, so that's basically it. So yeah, guys, this is it's a fun episode, but it packs in a lot. They combine a lot of stuff. Now I said before with the Mashu episode and everything into the dark and all that, combining um the stuff with Jet or Mashu, even bringing stuff from the Cave of Two Lovers into those episodes and stuff. They really work. And I'm not saying the stuff doesn't work here. It does, but I feel like they really didn't need to do some things. I feel like they didn't need Ko in this episode. I feel like they could have kept the whole fact that it was Heibai taking villages and stuff. It was probably a budget reason maybe they couldn't do because we have two like really big battles um in this season. We have like the Southern Air Temple genocide in the first episode, and then we have the Siege of the North in the last episode. So maybe destroying buildings and stuff, in the middle of the season wasn't within their budget, I guess. But I think they could have done it, but and it's just like because of that, because they kind of like do away with that storyline on Hey Bye. Um, while his appearance in the episode is cool, it's really, you know, since he's not really involved in the episode, he's not. It's really pointless in my opinion. Um, and like I said, the co stuff, I think they could have still left that like at the in like episode 8 and all that stuff. Um, and I'll explain a little more about that when I get to it. But anyways, this episode, like I said, it's fine. It's not one of my favorites. I'm gonna give it like a 5 out of 10. It's definitely a mixed bag. There's some stuff I like about it. I love the Aang and Gyatso scene, one of my favorite scenes. In the episode, I love all their scenes together. We're probably not even gonna see any more of that, like in book 2 or season 2, because it's not books, it's seasons for the show. Um, but yeah, maybe we will, maybe we won't. Wan Shi Tong, I'm fine with him being in the episode. Um, yeah, I think I've seen some people say like, well, if he's in this season, um, that probably means he won't be in the next season. I don't agree with that. I think we're definitely going to get the library episode. Um, just because it's a huge fan favorite episode, and even though not every fan favorite episode got adapted into this first season, I think we'll definitely get the library next season. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna give this episode. Did I already rate it? I don't think I already rated it. I'm gonna give this episode 6 out of 10. Yeah. Um, I feel like I already said 5 out of 10. I'm gonna give it a 5.5 out of 10. Okay. But anyway, guys, fun episode. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, leave a comment down below. I just want to quickly say thank you all for over 600 subscribers. You guys are amazing. I love you all. You are so great. Um, I enjoy making shorts. I enjoy making these videos. I know my videos don't get a lot of views, but I enjoy making them, and the more like I just enjoy doing it. And so if you enjoy watching it, that's great too. Um, but you guys are great. Um, for all those who've stuck here since the beginning, you guys are awesome. There was one more thing I wanted to say before I went. Oh, I'm sorry this video is kind of late. I've been dealing with an earache and stuff, and so I haven't really been feeling like uploading a video or anything. So that's why I've just been doing shorts the last couple of days. But anyways, like I said, hope you enjoy the videos, you guys. Drop a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I will see you all in the next one. Love you guys.